When Washington officially evicted Turkey from the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program in July 2019, Western military planners believed Ankara was strategically cornered. It was a massive geopolitical blow that left Turkey with a newly constructed 27,000-ton amphibious assault ship, the TCG Anadolu, completely empty on its flight deck. Without the vertical landing F-35B, the pride of the Turkish Navy was suddenly exposed, vulnerable, and tactically useless against modern regional threats. Forcing a nation to fight without naval aviation is a risk that usually ends in total defense collapse. Yet, fast forward to 2026, leading global defense analysts argue that this exact embargo may have triggered the most significant naval revolution of the century. Turkey did not surrender. Instead, they completely bypassed Western technologies to design the Mugum aircraft carrier, a massive 60,000-ton beast that is currently sending shockwaves through NATO command structures. On paper, their only tactical salvation would be a total leap into autonomous warfare. Turkey is now building a specialized multi-domain drone carrier, designed from the keel up to coordinate dozens of advanced robotic systems across the air, surface, and subsurface environments. This 285-meter Titan is not just a replacement for what Turkey lost, but a blueprint for a terrifyingly independent maritime empire under their Blue Homeland doctrine. Before we go on, did Washington accidentally create a naval superpower by cutting Turkey off? Or is this 60,000-ton robotic carrier a massive gamble that could fail in a real conflict? Subscribe to the channel to track this ongoing naval arms race. Hit that notification bell and tell me where you are watching from. The structural blueprint of this 60,000-ton Leviathan reveals why naval planners across the Atlantic are paying close attention. At 285 meters long and 72 meters wide, the Mugum carrier utilizes a 12-degree ski jump stow bar configuration engineered to launch high-performance aircraft even during sea state 6 conditions. But the physical dimensions are only half the story. The primary reason leading global defense analysts argue that this platform has shocked Western allies is its absolute technological sovereignty. Turkey has completely eliminated reliance on NATO infrastructure by embedding the Advent Combat Management System developed by Havelson. This software operates on an independent encrypted network separate from the standard Western Link 16 data link, allowing Ankara to exercise absolute tactical command without foreign digital oversight. Furthermore, the ship is crowned with the CAFRAD active electronically scanned array radar manufactured by Aselsan, capable of tracking over 2,000 aerial targets across a 450-kilometer radius. This allows the carrier to deploy a terrifyingly lethal multi-domain air wing of 52 aircraft. Instead of traditional manned fighters, the deck will host the supersonic Kizilelma stealth unmanned combat aerial vehicle, alongside the flying wing Ankara 3 stealth bomber for deep penetration strikes, and the folding wing Bayraktar TB3 for 30-hour continuous maritime surveillance. Most shockingly, updated blueprints presented at international naval events confirm that the Mugum is a true multi-domain mothership. The hull integrates specialized automated launch and recovery bays at the stern and flanks to deploy ULAC, autonomous surface vessels and advanced unmanned underwater vehicles. On paper, this creates a fully automated, self-defending fortress capable of neutralizing submarine threats and neutralizing enemy naval groups without risking a single human pilot in the initial strike wave. Yet, Beneath this facade of absolute maritime dominance, leading global defense analysts argue that Turkey is dancing on a razor blade. Operating 50 advanced robotic platforms across 3 distinct domains simultaneously presents a terrifying logistical nightmare, primarily regarding data bandwidth. To control multiple stealth systems like the Kizilelma and Ankara 3 under intense electronic warfare conditions, the Mugem carrier requires massive, unjammable satellite data streams. If a peer adversary successfully jams these satellite networks, this 60,000-ton supercarrier could instantly become a defenseless, blind giant stranded in open waters. However, the most critical bottleneck that could delay the entire project is not software, but propulsion. While Turkish naval engineers have successfully indigenized the weapon systems, radar arrays, and vertical launch cells, Turkey currently lacks the domestic capability to manufacture high-power marine gas turbines for a ship of this scale. The current blueprints rely on integrated electric propulsion systems, utilizing 2 American General Electric LM60,000 gas turbines, paired with German MTU diesel generators. This means Washington and Berlin still hold the ultimate kill switch over Ankara. If the United States or Germany decides to enforce a total propulsion embargo before the projected launch window between 2027 and 2028, the entire construction schedule will face an immediate freeze. Turkey is desperately racing against time to develop its own national marine engines, but engineering a reliable turbine that can push 60,000 tons of steel at 26 knots takes years of rigorous testing. For now, the entire multi-domain drone carrier doctrine remains heavily exposed to Western supply chain vulnerabilities, making the Mugem project one of the highest-stakes engineering gambles in modern military history. When the Mugem aircraft carrier officially enters active service with the Turkish Navy in 2032, the geopolitical landscape of the Mediterranean and beyond will face an irreversible transformation. By achieving complete self-reliance in radar, weapon systems, and network-centric combat management, Ankara is successfully transforming its ambitious Blue Homeland doctrine into concrete maritime reality. On paper, this 60,000-ton Leviathan will completely break the naval containment strategy of regional rivals, rendering traditional defense postures obsolete. But the strategic shockwaves of the Mugem project reach far beyond the borders of Europe. Leading global defense analysts argue that this project serves as a revolutionary case study for developing nations across the Indo-Pacific region. Turkey is already transferring its advanced Advent combat management system to Indonesia for the Red and White frigate program, proving that its defense ecosystem is highly exportable. The ultimate success of this 60,000-ton robotic carrier will provide a clear blueprint for nations seeking long-range naval power projection, without spending billions of United States dollars on expensive Western manned aircraft. The profound strategic lesson here is undeniable. Washington believed that withholding the F-35 fighter would cripple the maritime ambitions of Turkey, but that very embargo forced Ankara to pioneer an entirely new era of autonomous naval warfare. By attempting to isolate a capable ally, Western planners accidentally triggered the birth of a highly independent, technologically sovereign maritime superpower. Turkey has effectively demonstrated that true defense security is never bought from foreign allies. It is forged through absolute domestic innovation. Will this 60,000-ton autonomous carrier successfully redefine the rules of global naval engagement, Or will supply chain bottlenecks and propulsion vulnerabilities ultimately hold Turkey back? Share your thoughts in the comments below.